Are you still going to the LeetCode or HackerRank websites in order to solve programming challenges and build your skills before a technical interview? Well, stop doing that and start doing this instead. Build real software and real web applications that help you build your experience and skills in development. But you don't have to stop doing algorithm practice on LeetCode or HackerRank just yet. Instead, I'm going to show you in this video an amazing combine both your LeetCode HackerRank algorithm practice with web application development so that you can join the two of them together and gain experience in both areas at the same time. So let's take a look first at the LeetCode website I have here. This is a very typical FANG interview question in tech interviews of finding the majority element. You're given an array and you have to identify the most frequently occurring symbol here. So I've written a little algorithm. This is a very typical way to solve the problem. If I submit it, we can see in TypeScript, it should solve the problem. It's just counting up the occurrences in a hash map and outputting the maximum occurring symbol. There's another way to do this, which is by maintaining a balance that you increment or decrement every time you see the same symbol or a different symbol. But you can implement that on your own. What I want to show you is how to get out of the LeetCode website and do something like this in your own application. So take a look over at VS Code here. I have created an Angular web application using the modern version of AngularJS, and this is in VS Code. This is a great way for you to practice your skills in front-end web development and at the same time practice your algorithm skills. So if I'll run this using ng-serve, and when this spins up, it's building. Okay, let's take a look at what that looks like back in the browser. This is the application that we're going to be making for a majority element. So you can see here how I've created a form. It's using Material UI. This is being rendered with Angular, and it takes an input field and a submit button. And what we can do is we can put in here 5, 5, 2, 2, 7, 7, 7, 1, and hit submit, and we expect 7 should be the result. So sure enough, the result is 7. So how did I do this? Well, take a look back at the code. You can see here in our Angular app, if we go into source, app, here's the main component. If you take a look at that HTML, this is Material UI, a CSS framework, and it's implementing the input field for enter a value, along with the output div that outputs the result. And this just clicks find result and an input event handler on the submit button. If we take a look at the TypeScript behind this, you can see that all this really does is right here. This dot result, which goes into the web page, is calling algorithm module dot find majority number and passes the input. Key for how you can practice your web development skills with this. So if we take a look at algorithm module, I have all of my algorithms for different LeetCode problems implemented in this Angular TypeScript file. So here I have a version of solving find majority number using the hash method. Here I have the solution solving it using the balance counter method, which is more optimal. It's only order 1 space. And if you were to implement other algorithms, you can do that as well. So take a look at this. Let's suppose that we want to solve the Fibonacci sequence. So I can actually include a new function here. I'll just paste it in to save the time of typing it to Fibonacci sequence. This is an iterative solution. It's not using recursion. So we just loop through, and we have the two base cases when the fib of 0 is 0 and fib of 1 is 1. And anything above that will calculate and output the result by adding together the two prior values. So this is called Fibonacci. If we go back into our TypeScript file, all we have to do is change the name of the algorithm called to Fibonacci. The interface is the same. It still accepts a string and it outputs a result. So if we save this result and we take a look at the application. Here's the input field again, but this time we can enter something like 10 and take a look at the output. So the Fibonacci number at the 10th index is indeed 55. If we enter 2, the answer is 1. If we enter 5, the answer is 5. And if we enter 6, the answer is 8. Take it up a little bit higher. If we enter 13, fib is 233. So that's pretty cool. What if we want to solve it recursively? Well, we can do that too. So if we take a look back at VS Code, back in our algorithm module, we can add a new method for Fibonacci recursion. Let's actually name it Fibonacci recursion. And this will call itself with the 2 prior values. But the key here is back in our component, all we have to do is change this to Fibonacci recursion. And now if we take a look at the web app, it functions the same way. Enter 13, 233, or what about fib 20? 6765. So you can see how this is working. Now, what if we wanted to, let's solve a problem, a LeetCode problem of outputting all of the Fibonacci numbers up to a specific index value. So we can do that too. We'll call that Fibonacci n. So all we have to do for that is back in VS Code, we'll implement a new algorithm method. We can put that right here, Fibonacci n. All we're going to do is parse that input string, which will be a number. That will serve as our value for n, and we'll just append the result of Fibonacci over and over to it until we get to the target value. So to make that work, we can just change this to Fibonacci n of the input and save our changes, and then take a look at the result. So now if we enter fib of 10, we get the entire sequence. Let's extend that sequence a little bit further. And you can see we have the entire sequence outputting. Okay, so this is pretty cool. So why would you want to do it this way? Well, maybe you want to change the header here of the Angular component and practice your skills like that. Well, you could easily go into the HTML and you can make this say, my awesome LeetCode input. Save the change, take a look at your web application, and you have it changed. You can add different views, you can add different controls, you could add modal dialogues, you could even add a database back into this. You could add a microservice where perhaps instead of the input coming from a text field, your input problems could be read from a database, such as an SQLite file. And that an Angular service, an Angular interface, as well as perhaps a C#.NET microservice or web API module. And putting all of these together, you can help build your web application skills at the same time as your algorithm solving. So if you're interested in this and you like the way this sounds, I've put all of this up on GitHub. You can go ahead and download the source code for this framework. You can see it right here. And you can go right in and start choosing, adding in your own algorithms, just like I did, just right here, and then selecting that new algorithm to execute right there on that highlighted line. So I hope that this has been very informative, and I hope that this excites you as much as it does me, and lets you practice both your algorithm exercises for tech interviews at the same time as building real-world experience, building software products. And if you like this and want to see more, please like and subscribe. Send me a comment, let me know what you think, and thank you so much.